The next free traffic strategy in video number 7 here, we're calling it reporting important news. So this is a little bit of a different one, and the best way to do this is you're going to need to have a blog. So if you were one of the people watching the earlier videos and you didn't have a blog, this one's going to be pretty hard to pull off without having a blog. And ideally a blog that you have posted on a number of times in the past, so that it's well indexed and Google is kind of accustomed to you updating this blog on a fairly regular basis. Um, and really, to talk about this point, it all depends on opportunity. What happens with using news stories is, let's say something big happens, and I personally I don't like to grab traffic from a really terrible story, but you can get stories that are pretty interesting, or in the odd case, the media actually reports good stories, or interesting or funny, or just things that really stand out, and you can basically publish a new blog post that syndicates that story but gives your own little spin on it. And I'm going to use an example here, but really, like we said in the blogging video, you want to use the keywords as a title. And we had an example where my business partner Ted, he has a personal blog where it's basically random. He just blogs about whatever's on his mind. He has a few areas he kind of sticks to, but he doesn't pigeonhole himself into a specific topic. So what happened was, we live outside of Toronto, and we have a pitcher on our baseball team, or we had a pitcher on the Blue Jays called Roy Halladay. And when he was traded, he he sent a letter in the local newspapers to all the fans, thanking us for his time here and saying how much he loved it and he loved the fans and all that. And the story went all over the news media, the print media, the radio, TV stations. Everybody was picking it up. And Ted very quickly wrote an article on his blog, and he used the exact keywords, Roy Halladay, Toronto letter, I believe it was, or something to that effect, whatever it was being reported as. And what happened was that he, sorry, he was able to pick up all kinds of traffic for people that heard about this letter that Roy Halladay had sent to all the Toronto fans. So all the baseball fans and just the sports fans in general wanted to see what this letter was all about. And because Ted syndicated on his blog, for whatever reason, Google picked up his blog post, and it was on the first page. It was within the first few results for people searching for Roy Halladay letter. Now he didn't stay there for very long, but he was there for a couple weeks. But he got, I think it was something in the magnitude of close to 1,000 unique visitors because of that one blog post. And he had done this strategy before, so he knew, and that was the next point here, test what works. He knew that this was the type of story that would do well because his blog was already indexed. He had already done stories on sports type of things in the past. And not just that, he just knew that there probably weren't a lot of other bloggers waiting to jump on it. It was just going to be newspapers and TV and radio. So the fact that he wrote a post and he titled it exactly what people would be looking for in Google, it worked out really well for him, and he got a whole bunch of traffic. Now for him, it was just a personal blog, so it didn't help him sell anything because he wasn't actually using that blog to promote anything at the time. But it doesn't matter. It was a great exercise in traffic generation. Tons of free traffic. And imagine combining that with blog commenting and some of the other things we've talked about in this video series. You're looking at thousands of unique visitors in a span of a couple days. So it's an amazing little technique to use if you can. And the cool thing is that it takes just very little time. I think once he saw the initial report come out, when I think he listened to it on the radio, so he quickly got the post up. It took him a matter of 10 minutes because it was WordPress. He literally titled it, wrote some stuff down about it. I think he got access to the actual thank you letter and republished it live, so people wouldn't have to leave his site and click on another news story. They got to read the whole thing right on his blog, so it worked out really well. And there is some long-term organic traffic here. Like I said, he wasn't on the first page for very long because all the big news media outlets picked it up, and of course they have much stronger websites than one guy's personal blog. But he still gets found for some longer tail keywords when people search for Roy Halladay and some other keywords that go with it. He may not be on page one, but he gets some traffic from time to time, and it sticks with him. And it was a great example of using a breaking news story to kind of tap into an immediate influx of information. I remember the same guy Ted used when Eminem released his, or there was a leaked version of his new album, and Ted released a review copy of that on his blog. Obviously, that's a huge market. Eminem has millions and millions of fans. So his one blog post reviewing a leaked copy of the album got something like 2 or 3 thousand unique visitors, again in a period of a day or two. So it's something that will work, and you can get huge amounts of traffic. There is a little bit of luck involved, there's some timing involved, and there's some opportunity. But for the time it takes, I mean, it's definitely worth trying. Obviously, you have to look at your situation, and if your blog is specific to a niche, then obviously you can't go reporting things on Eminem. If you're doing, let's say, a meditation blog, or maybe you can, but you have to get really creative and make sure it pieces together. So that's really all there is to this video. There isn't anything specific to demo. The only thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to flip over and show you the two blog posts that I refer to here, just so you get an idea of how they were written, and you can go and do the same thing yourself. So let me flip over there now. So here's Ted's site and the Roy Halladay. He called it Roy Halladay Toronto Sun ad, and I guess when Roy Halladay wrote the letter, he originally published it in the Toronto Sun. Okay, so whatever the details of the story were, the whole point here is that he took what was about, what, let's say, a 3 or 4 paragraph blog post, one, two, three, not even 3 paragraphs, and a screenshot of what the letter looked like, from Roy thanking the Toronto fans, published in his blog in like a few seconds, and again got a ton of traffic to this particular blog post. So it doesn't take a lot of time to do it. It's just more of being ready to go, like being on the up and up with the news stories that might contribute to getting you a whole bunch of traffic on your blog. So you just kind of have to be aware of that. And I'll just quickly go find the M&M one as well, so you get an idea of what that looked like. So here we have the blog posts for the M&M recovery review, and so all he did was basically he said this is a leak. He listened to the album, reviewed it really quickly, and then got tons and tons of traffic. He had 50 comments, and this is a blog that doesn't really get a lot of comments. So that shows you that this post went viral because he happened to capitalize on something that was just new at the time. So that's not necessarily a news story. It kind of was. I mean, the news was breaking that his album was going to be released. The fact that his blog came out with a review of the album before it was even on sale, that worked for him. Obviously driving lots of traffic. So it's something, again, it's just an example you want to consider, but it can work for you. Think about how you can use it in your industry and drive lots of free traffic.